Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Thursday evening, guys. It's about 7:41 Eastern time. Happy Thursday, you guys. So, guys, I just left a meeting, a business meeting, right? And I like to always share notes and kind of like take it all in. However, because I am an empath, and my empath know when you're around a lot of people, you take all the energy in and you feel overwhelmed. So normally when I have a meeting, I am always the last one to go. I'm intentional about that. I'm the last one to go or the first one to go. It just depends, because I have to just be able to woosah, right? So much energy. So we're having this conversation, right? And there were so many things that we talked about and things that I 100% agreed on and decided to share with you guys. The majority of these things are my thoughts, my experiences, but I decided to like throw a few extra bonuses in there. Again, everyone will not be able to relate to this, but it will be mostly my people who came from the bottom line here. Right? Not the individuals who came from very successful families and all that good stuff, right? Not to say, well, I'm gonna take that back, because some of you did and you still had to work hard to get where you are. But the point of the matter is, if you kind of already had like the foundation set for you, you kind of had like a jump start, where there are some individuals out here trying to make it and they're literally coming from mud, for real. Like they're starting in the mud. So there's extra work. You don't have the blueprint. So there's a lot of extra work involved. So I took some notes on my phone. Let me pull them up. I'm going to talk to you guys about a few things that people don't tell you about climbing the ladders to success. Again, success can mean whatever for you. We all have a different definition of success. Society tells us it's money and accolades and it's all this other stuff, right? And that may be it for you as well, and that's fine. But ultimately for myself, it's about reaching the pinnacle, reaching your God's given destiny, your purpose, your calling, right? And just because you have a purpose in your calling doesn't mean you're going to just get there. There's so much that you have to go through. So we can focus on purpose, calling. We can focus on goals, desires, breakthrough, promises, whatever you want to call it, whatever your thing is. Let's just focus on arriving there. So again, from my people who's starting from the bottom, now you're here, right? Climbing out the mud. Here are some things that you don't really hear about. Instead, you just see the lights, the camera, and the actions when you flip your TV on, when you flip your radio on. You hear about the success. You don't hear about the struggles. We tend sometimes to think that these people just make it overnight, and it's not true. And even with your overnight successes, they really aren't overnight successes. You just don't really see the work they put in. And even if they happen to be, that's why they lose their mind. That's why they're in crazy houses. That's why, because it's so much you have to learn, right? Getting there is difficult, but staying there is even more difficult. So, all right, let me get my notes in my phone here. I'm an Android girl, so I don't want to hear you guys' mouth with my apples, because I think like 90% of the tables was apples. I am not that girl who followed the crowd. I am not that girl who moved when the masses move. I'm just that girl, like, listen, I march to the beat of my own drum. So yes, I'm team Android. So give me a minute. It's going to take me time to pull up my notes. All you Android folks, you can get there in 1 second. I need 1 minute. All right. So anyway, here is one of my several tips, whatever, pointers that people don't tell you when on your ladder to your definition of success. One is that you can stay the same. You can stay exactly who you are and make it to the top. Lies. All lies. You cannot stay the same. You will not stay the same. If you want to stay the same, you're going to stay exactly where you are. All right. Number 2, and they're numbered all over the place, so just kind of roll with me, guys. Number 2, You can bring everybody. You can bring everybody with you. I laughed and I chuckled because I told you guys like 10 years ago I had this list of like 30 people. For real, like 30 people. I really thought I was gonna bring 30 people. So there's this here's another thing what they don't tell you is that you can bring everybody with you and you don't have to leave anybody behind. And the truth of the matter is you will have to leave about 95% or higher behind. Sometimes it's for good. Sometimes you'll go back for them. But during the climbing process, you're going to be in isolation. They cannot go with you. The next thing. Well, that kind of relates back to you can be who you want to be. But what I'm saying now with this is that please don't expect for people to accept you as who you are. People will tend to place you or try to place you in their box, not your box, not the box that God has for you because he understands and knows your process, but the box that they have created around their own small mind. So it's like if God is challenging you to do bigger things and step out and this and that, people with small minds don't get it. They're stuck in their small mindset. So when you're doing things that's more grand, they tend to judge you. Oh, you're not supposed to do this. Oh, you can't look like this. Listen. Listen. Do not allow people to put you in their box. Now, that's one of my strengths. I have weaknesses as everybody do. But one of my strengths is never, ever allowing people to put me in their box. Because I'm a visionary. And I know what God has shown me, and I know the steps I have to take, and I understand that there's a process. I will never allow people to rush my process. My process comes from how God strategically moves me up the ladder. But what happens is when you start to allow people to put you in their box, it starts to shrink you. And what happens when you shrink? You lose your confidence. And in turn, you lose yourself. And in turn, you lose your message. Please don't let people put you in their box. Like for me, I'm a person who is very authentic. I'm very straightforward. I'm very verbal about being in a process. I don't have often where people email me or message me or comment and say, oh, well, you shouldn't do this because you're... I don't have that often, right? But when I do, and if I do, trust me when I tell you, I'm going to snatch your edges and they won't grow back. Because you will not tell me how to move and what I should do. Now, this is different when it's coming from someone who is ordained to speak into your life, right? Because at the end of the day, we all have to get polished. We all have to grow. But I'm speaking about people who are just jealous and small-minded because they're sitting there in their little gossip corner and they want to keep you in this little small town box and feel like you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. Check those people real quick. Check them one time and I guarantee you wouldn't have another issue behind them. Check them one time, because people will tend to focus on you just so they can avoid addressing their own flaws. This is a big issue when I get emails about and people feeling like their self-esteem is to the floor because they have other people saying this about them and saying that about them. When you know who you are, when you know what God has told you, you know how God uses you, there is not one word or one sentence that someone can say to shift your spirit. It may hurt your feelings sometimes. Check them one time. Don't let it slide. Check them, but do it classy. And I guarantee you, they won't try you again. I don't go through all that. Because you're not going to tell me how far I should be in my process. Your process is different from mine, right? So please, guys, get your confidence up and start putting these people in their place, classy and respectfully. All right, next thing, here's another thing they don't tell you guys. I say this a lot, and I'll say it again. They won't tell you that you will no longer fit in where you're coming from, and you have not quite yet arrived where you're going. So you're kind of stuck, like this middle child, the middle child, right? So it's like, even though your old friends in your old community or whatever is still there, they're still, they're still calling you, but you don't even want to be bothered with that, right? They're still inviting you to, but you don't even want to be bothered with that, because when you go, it's like Charlie Brown's teacher, you can't even connect to the things they're talking about anymore. And it's not even a bad thing, right? Because you obviously want to be humble, but it's the truth. You just can't connect what they're talking about because you're no longer on that level. But on the flip side, when you walk into doors where people who are already successful in their own right, you don't feel like you fit there either, because it's like, whew, I got some work to do, right? So you're kind of stuck in this middle point. But the key is to, when you walk into these rooms of people who are where you want to be, the key is to learn. Humble yourself, be teachable, close your mouth, and learn. Because you will be surprised that people who've already made it, how they really want to help others who are in their process. Why? Because they were once in the process. They know what it took, right? And that's not everybody. Some people make it and just never look back, right? Like, I'm not going to help anybody. But the majority of people will truly, truly, truly want to take your hand and help you if you're teachable. Because they're not going to go back and forth with you. If they're trying to teach you something that's going to better you, why would they go back and forth with you? You might be, your old mindset is pinging too, and nobody got time for that, right? So that's another thing that they don't tell you, that you will be walking alone. Again, if you're somebody who you don't like to be alone and you have this fear of being alone, listen, you might want to stay where you at, because honey, the more and more you climb, the more solo dolo you will be. And there's reasons behind that, though. There's reasons behind that, because you can't have people pulling at you, and the people behind you are going to be pulling at you. They're really going to be pulling at you. So you have to set your boundaries on what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, and keep it moving. So, it's not a bad thing. It's just what you got to go through thing. All right. Another thing is, let me see what I got written down here. Whew, this was a big thing for me. Oh, Jesus. This was a huge thing for me. And I'm still working on this. I'm getting better every day. I see my progress in this area. But this is one thing they don't tell you. Your emotions don't matter. Your emotions, your hurt feelings, your sensitivity, my ladies, doesn't matter when it comes down to business and climbing these ladders. You're going to have to learn how to turn that switch off, which is so hard for us because we're caught up in our emotions. It doesn't work like that in business, in climbing these ladders. It's all about what makes sense. It's all about the next step. It's all about open doors. It's all about networking. It's all about connections. It's all about this. Our little emotions will keep us stuck. That is so hard. So they don't tell you that your emotions don't matter. They do not tell you that the higher you go, each step you climb, because it's literally a ladder, literally, these attacks will come more and more. They will become more and more intense. You hear that. You hear that a lot. You hear what's the saying? The bigger the blessings, the bigger the storm, or something like that, or the bigger the devil, or something. You hear that, but you don't really interpret it until you're going through it. Like, you hear it, like, oh, the bigger, oh, I'm ready to fight the devil, honey. Right? You hear that. But, honey, hey. Whoo. The intensity of the storms comes in different forms. And it's going to normally, they change. It changes. It targets you in different areas during different times. But the closer you get, the one area that's going to really be targeted is that one area that has your heartstring. Is that your family? Is that your finances? Is that your job? Because we all have that area, right? And Satan knows what that area is for us. So whatever that area is, he's going to punch you dead in your gut. And it's going to get to the point where you are going to want to walk away. You're going to be like, it's not worth it. I can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel on this ladder that I'm standing on alone in the middle of nowhere. And now you're messing with my peoples. Now you're messing with my money. Man, this ain't even worth it. And the minute you give up, that's what he wants it. But the minute you stay, this phone here, the minute you stay and you fight through all that, no matter how difficult it is, how intense it is, if you fight through it, and Satan realized, like, oh man, I thought this would have shook her or him. But they're still going. That storm will literally lift up overnight. Lift up. You'll wake up one day and the storm is over. Whatever he was attacking, it's over. They done work it out. They found a way. It's over. And you'd be like, what if I had walked away? I would have missed it for nothing. That's the whole point. You have to push through even when it doesn't make sense. Another thing they don't tell you about success is that your phone is going to go off 1,000 times. Your phone is going to go off 1,000 times. And you're so busy that you forget to turn it off. Or you can't turn it off because so many people depend on you. Another thing they don't tell you is that the attacks from jealousy, right? If you think you have people jealous of you when you were in school or when you were 21, whatever, right? Because they feel like you had this and you had that, right? If you think you dealt with jealousy, then wait till doors start opening and you start climbing the ladders. And you know what's crazy? They're jealous and they're attacking you, right? And these are going to be complete strangers sometimes. They just feel like, how does she just get to the front of the line? Don't even realizing the hell you went through to take the one step up. You're not even to the front of the line yet, right? You're taking one step up. But they're jealous for whatever reason. So now they're throwing all kind of nonsense your way. And you're like, what? Why are you jealous? Do you want to spend a day with me to really see what it takes? The things I'm going through, right? But it's okay. Because if they're jealous now, tell them wait. Tell them wait. They're really going to be jealous. So they don't tell you about how strangers, right? You're used to, people in your neighborhood hating on you, jealous of you. Your high school friends, your college friends jealous of you. They don't tell you that strangers across the world in other countries will be jealous of you and hating on you for no reason. These people have never said hi to you. But it's okay. That's how you know that you're doing something great, right? Let's see what else I got here. Oh, I think I said this earlier. They tell you can stay the same. No, your character is going to be the one thing that takes the most work. Your character is going to be the thing that stretches you the most. Because think about it. We were doing what we do for the majority part of our lives. Right? So if you weren't really raised in a home of discipline, structure, balance, all that stuff like that, it's going to be the most challenging thing for you, because when you start climbing these ladders, you cannot do things the way you used to do. I was talking to one of my staff about this earlier this morning, and I know I stay on them, and sometimes and they get the job done, but I have to sometimes stay on them. So I was talking to one of my staff this morning. I was like, listen, this is why I tell you guys, when you be like, oh, boss lady, you got it all figured out, you got this, and I was like, see, okay, you want to give me all these props, right? I say all glory to God, but thank you, right? But when I'm staying on you, these are things that I had to do in order to get God to trust me. So we hear about what the blessings will be, what we can get. We don't hear much about what we have to go through to maintain it. Because see, God can open up a door and give you blessings, right? But if you don't have the character to handle it, he will snatch it right back. He's not going to put things in your hand unless you have a certain character integrity to match. So when you're speaking to my staff, when you're sitting here and you're realizing like, oh wow, she's where I want to be, or she's X, or whatever you see, the things that I'm staying on you about, you may see them as minor and minute, but I see them as detail, and I see them as order, that which God requires you to be. And that's still hard for me because I'm not the most organized person, but I know that I have to be organized with certain blessings. So people don't tell you that, right? They just tell you, oh, you can go higher. You can go higher. Honey, okay. Let God open the door and you're still operating in the same spirit you're operating in right now, and see how long that blessings last. So that's why we have to go through this whole process of isolation where we're stripped and then rebuild and all that. Process, then rebuild, all that stuff. Don't judge me and my Android phone. I'm trying to scroll here. What's another thing? They don't tell you when you're climbing the ladder that you have more days of wanting to give up than feeling like you want to press through. That's one thing they don't tell you. And look at the statistics. Most people give up. Most people give up right before the blessings. We hear that a lot, right? But we don't get that. And it's hard for somebody to judge it who've never been climbing ladders. Those storms get so intensified. You have things hitting you from left to right. You're struggling on the middle of the mountain on the ladder. You got the people behind you just, right? Like you got, but you have to push through. There is no way in the world you will make it to the next level. And I'm not even saying the top. I just mean the next level. Because you don't even know what the next level is until you get to the next level. You feel me? There is no way you will get to the next notch and understand what is there unless you go through it. So that's why it's easy for us to say, oh, I would never give up. You just, oh my God, you were this and that, and you done got signed to a label, right? Talking about these little rappers or whatever who's constantly in and out of jail. You got signed to a label. You fool, why would you like risk your life? What? He only got signed. Did his character change? No, he just got signed. He got the same character, the same intent. Like, he don't know anything. No one schooled him. So So that's why it's easier for them to go to jail. That's why it's easier for them to go back to selling dope and all this stuff, because they realize that once they got signed, the control those folks got on them, that pressure from the family who feel like they're not doing enough, even when they're just trying to make it, because people think they got millions, but really that millions is like a loan that they're having to pay back. Right? So sometimes it's easier just to go back. And if that means risking going in jail, guess what? If I'm in jail, I don't have the pressure. You got pressure, but not that kind of pressure. You feel me? So this is why don't judge people because you don't know. But I'll tell you this, it takes a certain type of mindset. Right? You have to have that warrior mindset. Another thing what people won't tell you is that you will be misunderstood. Now, for my chosen ones, you guys, that's not an issue for you. You've been misunderstood all your life, so that's pie, right? That's pie. You've been misunderstood all your life, but people will they will really, really, they won't be able to figure you out. So it's easier to hate someone or dislike someone just because you can't figure them out. So they really don't dislike you. They dislike what they can't understand. That's really what that's all about. But you don't care about that. That's so petty. The further you go, those people will fall off because you're not even thinking about bottom feeders, respectfully. People are just trying to tear you down. Okay. Strolling down my Android, guys. Alright, so I think I may have hit everything. Alright, so I think I may have hit everything. If I left anything out, maybe I'll make another recording on it. I'm not even sure, but alright, so I know I've hit all the main things that I wanted to touch on. So anyway, with all that being said, please make no mistake about it. If you have dreams and you have desires, if God has given you a vision, a promise, because I'm a realist, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that it's easy. Some people make you think that. I could never, because I'm too honest to lie about anything. It is hard. All caps, hard. Especially if you are a visionary. Because again, God shows it to you, right? So if you're not a visionary, you have this goal and all this stuff okay, I'm going to reach this goal, but I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know who, I don't know who else I'm going to reach this vision. This goal. As a visionary, God shows you the people involved. He shows you the destiny. He don't show you the process. And the process is more about the direction and the when. And that is the most difficult because you see it clear as day. You know it's there. So you just feel give it to me. I see it. No, it doesn't happen like that. So a visionary has it way more difficult than just someone who's really goal oriented and please don't get it twisted. You guys know my goal oriented people. You still have to fight. You still have this hard process. You still have to unlearn a lot of things in order to be teachable. Right? You gotta humble yourself for a long time. And so yes, that's hard. So either which way is difficult. But the point of the matter is, please fight for it. Because it will all be worth it. Listen. There's some doors that has opened in my life in general. You know what? I'm glad I said that. I'm going to get back to that. Here's another thing they don't tell you about success or climbing ladders. When you reach one milestone, It's hard for you to sit in that one milestone and be like, oh my goodness, I set this goal or I saw this vision and I conquered it, right? So you think you want to sit in that for years and just soak it up like, I reached this pinnacle. No, it's going to be over in about 2 days. you're gonna be in this emotional high for about 2 days, and then it's like, what's next? Because see, it's a ladder. It's a ladder. So you take one step and boom, there's this goal or there's this vision, and you feel like, I've made it. No, you haven't. That's part of it. So now you have another step. So you soak it up and you feel like, oh, I'm just going to sit. No, nope. Get back to work. Get back to work. So this is why it's almost like people would tend to think that you're never satisfied. It's not that you're not satisfied. It's just that you know that you're not where you're supposed to be or where God have shown you. So you have these goals. But I want to encourage you guys. That's one thing I'm being intentional about lately is looking back on my calendar, looking at certain goals I've accomplished, certain visions that God has given me. And not only did I show up, I mastered it. And so when you look back and you celebrate those moments, that alone will give you that perseverance to push through and be like, oh, I did this last year. I did this. Even during coronavirus, I did this. So next one, bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on. Right? So, yeah. But that's another thing they don't tell you. Like you're always chasing something. That's why a lot of celebrities take Michael Jackson or certain, rest in peace, Michael Jackson. But certain celebrities, it's almost like a drug where you reach a certain point, but you're always chasing that first initial high. That's dangerous, and that's why you have to be able to sit back and celebrate, every achievement. And so that's why I've been journaling the last couple of years, different milestones, because when you go back and look at the different milestones, it's like, whoa, wow, your girl did what? Okay, God, if you open that door, I know you open this door. So that's why that's important. So anyway, so what I was saying was that, so for those of you who are climbing ladders, if you have a promise, if you have a vision, goals, whatever your thing is, it will be extremely hard. You're going to want to give up more days than not. You're going to lose a lot of people along the way. But don't worry. The ones who are meant to stay will stay. Also, certain people drop off in certain seasons, but they come back in different seasons. So there might be some people that drop off, but they come back. You're going to walk alone. You're going to be alone more times than not. But God will always bring people in your path who will grab your hands, who will help you. It's like you will adopt a new family, not family per se, but you will adopt a new family to help you. A lot of people from your past won't understand anymore because you're no longer speaking their language and vice versa. That's not a bad thing. It's just that they haven't arrived yet. You may go back for them, you may not, whatever, but you can't worry about that. That's going to be hard because, again, you're not really accepted where you're going. So you're kind of just out here dangling, but you have to be okay with that. Push through the tears, through the storms, the trials, through the failures. Push through. Fight as if you're fighting Floyd Mayweather. He may knock you out, but you get back up. You may lose that fight, but you keep swinging. You keep swinging and you keep swinging. And guess what? Floyd himself will look at you and be like, he got some heart. She got some heart. I done knocked them down 9 times. They keep getting back up. Like, let me take their hands. I want them on my team because I see they're a warrior, right? So that's what it's all about, guys. I wanted to share that with you guys. I didn't mean for it to be this long. How long was this recording, man? Oh, child. Almost 35 minutes. So, I hope this helps someone. You guys have a great one. It's your girl.